Hey guys and girls, my name's Dan. Welcome back to the, not to the forge, I knew I was going to do that. Welcome back to the workshop. Not in the workshop, we're in my office, back room. And we're going to do another random rant. I've got a bottle of beer. I've got something to show you guys. Oh God, I always get this camera thing wrong. I even wrote a script for this one. So I'm going to wait for people to sort of turn up for a little bit. And then we're going to get into the thick of things. So I think the first thing is to open the beer, that is for sure. My counter's not working. I wonder, can you guys hear me all right? Is everything okay? Can you see me? Can you hear me? I hope you can. Right, let's see if I can get that open. I think we're running. Yeah, we're looking good, I think. Okay. Yes. Good evening, everyone. Hey, Elliot, Tucker, Ben, Brandon. How's everyone doing? Peter, how's it going? We're on the wheat beer again. I think I've had this one before. It's Franzkerne Weiss beer. Anyway, they sell it in Tesco's, which is a supermarket here. So we're gonna have that this evening. Sorry, the painful wait while wheat beer empties into a glass. How's everyone doing? Uh-oh, too much. Okay, we're doing failure today, and there's a reason we're doing failure. I recently did a live stream with Twan from Warp Legacy. I don't know if some of you guys were there, perhaps. And in that, he was talking about listening to his own advice, and failure came up. And I'm going to go over that a little bit today. And also, after the last live stream where we talked about... no, it was just a live stream before that, where we were talking about getting paid value for what you're worth. And I got some information off a sub and a viewer, and he was saying about the Dunning-Kruger effect. So I want to talk a little bit about that. And then at some point in this video, I am going to talk about this little thing. This was made for me by a friend and a subscriber. And I'm going to talk about that. And yeah, that's pretty much it for this episode. Links to Twan's, the live stream that Twan did from Warp Legacy is in the description. Please go and check that out. He really needs some help at the minute. So if you just do me a favour, I'm not getting anything by doing this. Just go out and check his channel out. That would really be epic if you just go over and just do a watch. Even if you don't watch it, just go over there and just put some hours on his needs. Yes, failure. I've got some quotes to read out, first of all, before we get into failure, and they're nice quotes, and one of them is from Peter Tricker. Sorry, my reading's awful. The successful person gets up just one more time than they get knocked down. I love that. I think that's brilliant, and that's something to remember. Successful people do get knocked down. Get up one more time before they're knocked down, because they're the ones that keep trying, and that's the point that I'd like to cover with failure. It seems quite popular at the minute, this whole idea of what failure is and how it affects how we perform and stuff like that. And the other quote that I found, and this is a little thing that Ella has kicking around the house. Oh, I can't. Can you see that? Is that going to focus? Yeah, anyway, yeah. Courage does not always roar. Sometimes courage is a quiet voice at the end of the day saying, I will try again tomorrow. Mary Ann Marsha. Anyway, that lady said that. Oh God, I wish I could read better. Anyway, I really like that as well. The idea of continuing to try. So, failure. What is failure, and why is failure important? I make mistakes all the time. I've got a video coming very soon, and there's an epic mistake in it, and it's basically ruined the entire product. At the end of the video, the whole thing's unusable. It's unsaleable. It's unusable. The content of the video is really good. The outcome, the thing looks okay, but because of this problem, we can't do what we want to do with it anymore. But it's okay. I've got more stock to make some more. Some of you guys might have seen what I made. I'm not going to go into too much detail, but the failure was because of something I did. I made the mistake. I caused myself the problem, and by being aware of how the problem occurred and what it was that got me to that problem, that isn't a failure. That's a win as far as I can see it. And I'd like to think that every day, little wins add up. Little loses add up to big wins. So someone else once said, like, life is just a series of failures with intermittent successes. And what you need to try and remember is those successes, those wins that you get as you progress through your career. Sorry, there's going to be lots of quotes and sayings and things in this live stream. Another tutor of mine, a massive bloke. I was talking about him, Adrian Legg. He says it takes 10,000 hours to get good at anything: basketball, swimming, crochet. I'm sure you can think of other things that people do, and those 10,000 hours. In those 10,000 hours, you are making mistakes. You're failing. You're having to fight through adversity. You're having to make the same thing again and again and again and again until you get to where you want to be. This month has pretty much been a month of hammers. We've made a lot of hammers this month. I'm going to call it January the month of the hammer, because there's a Warped Legacy Warped Challenge that's coming out. I have an entry for that. There's also lots and lots of hammers are being made. I've had customers ask for rounding hammers. I've sold some more starter kits. I really enjoy making hammers, and I'm not that good at it. Well, I'm adequate, but I'd like to be better. There's people out there that make hammers better than me, and I want to be able to produce hammers that I like, and B, that I think are good enough, that are good enough to categorize myself as like a pro hammer maker. But I know I'm not there yet by any measures. I know I've got a lot to do. So I need to be able to understand and learn from each hammer that I make how to improve them, how to make me more efficient, and that's basically what I wanted to talk about. I failed the other day. You're going to see it in the video. In fact, I think the video for Twan, there's a fail in there as well. I make failures every day, and they don't shoot me down. They don't stop me from doing it. In fact, if anything, they make me want to work harder. So hopefully that makes some sense, and hopefully you guys get something out of that. The next thing I'd like to talk about is something that some of you guys might be affected by, and it's important to understand. I'm not having a dig at anyone, by the way, with this next comment. This is just, or next piece of this video. The next piece I'd like to talk to you about is the Dunning-Kruger effect. And the Dunning-Kruger effect is a psychological effect, and it affects it affects us because it's our self-bias. It tells us that we're doing better at something than we actually are. So basically they did their studies that these guys, Dunning and Kruger, did, and people who are first starting out in something. So I think the example they use is playing guitar. They sit down and they start playing the guitar, and within a couple of weeks they go, I'm a really good guitar player, and I can play these songs, but they can't play them right, then they're making mistakes, and their self-biased tells them that they're better than they are, basically, to the point where they'll tell professionals that they're wrong and that they're doing things wrong. This happens to me all the time. Not that I'm a professional. I would say I'm more of an intermediate. But it's something to be aware of. I bet you everyone out there has done this at least once. Go and check it out. Go and check some links out for the Dunning-Kruger effect. You will have started something and you'll have gone off and you'll have done like you'll have done like 6 weeks practice or something like that, and you'll have turned around and goes, oh, I don't like that guy, who may have been doing it for like 40 years, 20 years, something like that, and you go, oh, he's doing that wrong. And you think, oh God, I literally have done that in my life before. You think you're better than you actually are. And I think that that bias is there probably to help us get over those failures. Because if we are failing, hopefully that bias will push you through and make you succeed. I don't know, I'm guessing at that a little bit. And then the middle part of the bias is like where you start learning, where you're most supple, you're most effective. And basically you can see where you're making your faults, and then you can see how to fix the fault, and then you can get through and you can learn. And the best way to do that is to obviously read books and to be vocational and practice what you're doing, and work through all of the problems that you cause yourself, and you know, make your skills better and improve. And then the top part of the Dunning-Kruger effect is the fact that people forget, so professionals forget that people don't know what they know, and they assume that there is a known quantity of knowledge that's supposed to be involved with a craft or a subject or a sport, and they forget that other people, and that causes frustration. So I find that quite interesting. I had a comment from someone the other day who's very clearly an Alex Steele fan, telling me that I'd made something wrong, and I was kind of like, no, I didn't make it wrong, and your advice is welcome. Thank you for your advice, but you told me what you told me because you'd been told that. And he's like some 14-year-old lad. He's got a couple of YouTube videos, and I was like, yeah, it's cool. I'm really pleased that you're making nice stuff. And he was quite complimentary to me, and I was kind of like, he said, oh, my work was good looking. It was in what nice finish. But, you know, it's like, I'm making things different to you because of the different style. I'm not I'm not putting your style down. But anyway, basically, that was the point of the conversation. It was that he, in his somewhat naivety, I thought a 14-year-old boy, in no way, even if they started at 12 and they've been forging for, you know, every weekend since they went on their Brian Brazil course, you know, in no way can have as much, you know, they can't. I think it's a bit naive of them to turn around and tell someone, hey, you're doing that wrong because this should happen, because this will happen. And it's like, no, well, it's a different style, mate. It's not your style. I apologize that you don't like that answer. Unfortunately, my style is the way I like to do it, and your style and your ignorance thinks that my style, more the way I'm doing it, is wrong. So go and read a book. I think, but I don't. But again, I was talking about the some of the content that I've made previously, and there's a video where I test the difference between a rounding hammer and using the bick and over the edge of the anvil. And the result of that video is, and I've probably not told anyone this, is that, and no, I don't use the edge of the anvil. The result of the video is I started drawing out with a rounding hammer over the bick. So I'm using the bick and then a rounding hammer to draw out. And I find that really, really, I find it a really good way to draw out. It's really clean, it's really quick. It's much, is it more efficient? I don't know. I just find it nicer. I can use a slightly smaller hammer, and therefore, you know, I get more out of it. Is it right? Is it wrong? I don't know. I didn't make that video to say if anyone's right or wrong. There was a clickbait, a little bit of clickbait in there. Anyway, basically that's the point. So stay tuned to those other videos where I'm going to talk about failure. Sorry, where I'm going to fail, and they are going to be epically exciting. I guarantee that a lot of you guys are going to enjoy it. And also, yeah, so yeah, there's some good stuff coming up. And please go and check out Twan's channel. That's not the end of the video. I'm going to do some questions in a minute, and I want to talk to you about this. Is Chris Cassidy Schroder, are you at all anywhere in the in watching? Because if you are, he's the gentleman that made this. Let's see if I can get you a nice close-up image of it. That's the leather cake. There's his, oh god, I can always get the thing around the wrong way. There's his little maker's mark. Can you see that? Chris Lawrence is here. Can you guys see that? And then he's got, right, okay, a disclaimer now. I have abused the hell out of this knife. It did not turn up looking half as bad as it currently looks, and it's probably blunt because I have abused the hell out of it. So this is a knife he made, and there's his little mark. I said I'd give him a shout out ages ago, and I was going to do a little video, a little hammer time video. Anyway, Chris is a Australian bloke, and he makes knives. I think he forged the bevel on this, and he ground the rest. He's a really lovely bloke. He's genuinely a nice guy. He's got an Instagram. Go and check out his Instagram. He sells little custom-made knives and bits and bobs like that. He made this for me for a swap for a hammer. He's going to get his hammer very soon. I said I'd give him a shout out and promote his Instagram a little bit. So I'm doing that now. He has PTSD. He's ex-army. Australian army. He's been bashed around to hell. He's got back problems and he's suffering with PTSD. And what he's trying to do is work through that adversity. He's getting up every morning and thinking today's a new day, and he's trying to build himself a career as a sort of a knife maker, custom knife maker. He's made some really cool stuff. Just go and check out his Instagram. That's all. Really, he talks about in his Instagram. He talks about his PTSD and his current rehabilitation and all that cool stuff. It's not cool. All that stuff that goes on as part of suffering PTSD, and also some of the injuries that he's also going through, and some of the stuff that he Miss Clark. You know, Chris. That's cool. Anyway, basically, the guy's really cool. He's trying to make a living for himself. I'm giving him a shout out because he sent me a knife, and he's a good bloke, and we chat quite a lot, even though he's at the other side of the world. We don't bump into each other that often, sometimes because of ships in the night and stuff. But hopefully you guys go over there and just say hello, because that'd be really nice. Thank you for doing that. And I think that's everything I wanted to talk about. So who have we got there? Old James. Hey, old. Haven't seemed like forever since we've seen each other. Oh, Curtis. Tucker still, Dragon Lord, Rods, hey dude, Dracer69, hey guys. There's loads of people today. The Soul Fan, how's it going? Warp Legacy, sup bro, how's it going? Sam, I can see you but can't hear you, laying in bed. Can everyone hear me? Hey Twan, who's that? X, Paul Guy, Brandon, Ben, Mark Riggs, how you doing? DragonCon Best, how's it going? DragonCon Best, yes, everyone can hear me. Doing good. Hi everyone else. Cool. Right. Pitch me some questions my way, and I'm quite happy to answer them. First things first, I need a sip of a beer. Brian, how's it going? So some people can hear me and some people can't see me. I'm assuming that if it's a problem, your end. But yeah, I had the same problem with Twans the other day. If I was watching on a mobile phone, I couldn't see him, but I could hear him, which was weird. Cool. What are we drinking today? We're drinking a Weiss beer. It's Franz Krana. I got it from Tesco's. It's all right stuff. There we go. I like my Weiss beer. It's a bad habit I picked up in Germany when I was working out there. So, cool. We got any questions? Because you know, me talking rubbish isn't good. And would you do a tool making day that we could attend? Daniel wants to know if I can do tool making days that you can attend. Of course, I do run courses. I don't advertise courses, and I'm pretty happy to do anything really. So if you sent me an email and said I'd like to come and make a hammer, I'd be like, cool, let's go and make a hammer. If you send me an email like someone sent me recently, they want to try and make some Damascus. We're going to try and make some Damascus. So yeah, we'll see how that goes. But courses, I can do courses if you want. Actually, Chris is there. Hey, Chris, you would like to do the Damascus, wouldn't you? Cool. What we got? I'm losing track. Everyone's saying hello to Sam. No problem. We are drinkers too. Curtis, that gives me confidence that I'm among friends. Picnic problem in the chair, not in computer. Sorry, Chris, that makes no sense whatsoever. I can hear you all right. Do you case harden your hammers? If not, why not? Case harden. Case hardening is a process of using a chemical to assist with the hardening process. Ginge Taylor. No, so case hardening. I do not case harden my hammers. I just heat treat them. So basically, I use the process of heating higher carbon steel up to an austenitic temperature and then quenching it in a medium, oil or water, whatever happens to be. Case hardening is a process of where you take a click spring. Click spring has a great video on this. When this video goes thing, I'll put a link to his in the description, or at least I'll try to if I can. Go and check out Click Spring. He makes some files out of mild steel. He makes the files and then he packs I think it's charcoal. He packs some sort of high carbon material around the file, then covers it in clay and then puts it in a crucible and heats the whole thing up and holds it at a certain temperature for a period of time. Then takes them out and quenches them, and that produces a hardened material. I really would like to try that one time. It seems like a winner. What we got? Oh no. Sorry guys, I'm messing around with screens now. Okay. Okay. I can hear you. I'm just not listening. Thanks, Ben. Okay, what we got? Twan, Warp Legacy, and are they the same colour as your skid marks? What the hell's going on? What did I miss there? Dan, can you try making a broad axe? I will make more axes. More axes coming. I promise. I'm going to ask for some suggestions for some videos whilst we're working through the Blacksmith Bible. What colour underwear are you wearing? Ah, I see, Ben. Do you really want to know what colour underwear I'm wearing? Because it's a bit personal. I'll share if you all want to know, but it's a bit personal. Yes, will be a laugh. Yes, Chris, it will be a laugh. I'm Twan Sam. Twan is a dude who has a channel called Warp Legacy. Go and check it out. And give him a shout out. That will really help him. Oh God, there's so many comments coming. Sorry, I'm trying to get through some comments. Found my notebook from my army blacksmith course. Time to leave teaching. That sounds good. Okay. It adds a thin layer of carbon. Yeah, that's correct. Dragon Lord about the Peter. Oh God, wouldn't you need to case harden the steel? Wasn't hardenable in the first place. Yeah, you only case harden. Steel that can't be case hardened. I'm just going to go down to Riggs. Any suggestions for how Mark Riggs? Any suggestions for how to prevent an anvil from wandering around when forging? Is that a dig, Mark? Because mine sods off all over the place. I've only ever worked on anvils that aren't fixed to the floor. I can't fix my anvil to the floor where it currently is in the workshop because that is an access point through there. There's two doors that line up because the place I rent it from is the farmer, so he likes to drive stuff in and out. The best thing I would suggest is if you have an anvil and you can get some angle iron or something, you could bolt it to the floor. But again, I think the impact area will get, especially if you've got a metal frame, you start making marks. All the anvils at college, they were on free stands. Being able to move an anvil around is really useful. I find it really helpful to be able to sort of like shimmy at one end of the workshop and move it out of the way and move trestles in and stuff if I need to work on something bigger. So the answer is I don't bother too much with it moving around. If it's really bad, I guess get a bit more weight on it. One thing you can do is buy an old chain, a knackered chain from a scrapyard or something, and wrap that around the throat of the anvil. That'll put a bit more weight on the feet of the anvil, hopefully. Try that. See how that goes. Otherwise, just bolt it to the floor. Essential Craftsman Anvil videos sources it the way. Well, it's really great. You bought. How much did the power hammer cost, and how much do the balls ache when? How much ball ache when I installed it? How much did power hammer cost? That power hammer cost me just under £6,000 with transport, I think. I can't remember. And I bought it second hand. I bought it from a place called Electromotion. They're an auction place. I believe it come from, well, it was actually, it actually belonged to another blacksmith, but they bought it and then couldn't get it to their workshop. And then I got hold of it. And how much of a ball ache are they to install? They are a nightmare. There's 7 tons of concrete underneath. The inertia block underneath that hammer is 7 tons. I had the wrong drawings, so the anvil sits ever so slightly too low. So we had to repack up the anvil afterwards. I don't have 3-phase in the workshop, so I had to get a special converter made to put 3-phase in the workshop. Yeah, so those big hammers are a nightmare. So if you don't want one desperately, then you need to think about getting a smaller hammer. That hammer's total weight as well, I think all in is 5.5 tons. So total weight all in. Hey Tim, did you get my email, Tim? Please tell me you got my email. Because I've had a problem. That was a nice looking blade. What are we talking about? By the kosher. Cool. Any questions, guys? Yeah, Mark Riggs, chuck a chain around it. That'll weight it down a little bit. Have we got any questions? Oh, thank God. I'm curious to know how money was blown on bragging. Well, shit, the bed. Yeah, it's heavy, and I was really worried because we bought it, and the lorry that turned up with it on had a 25-ton crane on it, and it picked it off, and it didn't have a problem. And then we went to pick it up with a small fork truck on the farm, and it couldn't move it. And I was like, oh God, so we had to get a slightly bigger fork truck to pick it up. But it's okay now. It's all sorted now. A Kopesh that costs £6,000. Oh, is that what we're talking about? Who bought a Kopesh for £6,000? Do I really need a power hammer to make mashed potatoes? If you want to make them properly, minus lumps, the power hammer's the way to go, Drayson. The best mashed potatoes ever. Expensive mashed potatoes. Yes, Curtis, very expensive mashed potatoes. I've turned my audio up. What's the failure bit about, I'm assuming. Hale, it's good to that we did that at the beginning. You'll just have to watch back. You missed that bit. Elliot, what was your journey from college to having your own show? Did you work with another company or just show? I mean, it must mean shop. Set yourself up. I went to college in order to be self-employed. I left. I have worked with other smiths, but I left college. I finished my degree and I went straight into my workshop, and I have just worked in my workshop ever since. And then last January I set up the channel. So that's pretty much it, really. Pretty easy. Some daft sod bought a Kopesh for 6. Okay. Was it a nice one? That like, why would you buy something like that for that much money? That seems, well, it depends what you like, doesn't it? I guess I bought a power hammer for the same amount. Nice to see you too, my friend J Forge. How you doing? We don't know. The Kopesh was a collaboration between Steel and Hoffman. Ooh, I see. He's the axe guy, isn't he, the Hoffman? I always mix him up with Yuri Hoffi. And there's another Hoffman guy as well. There's another Hoffman blacksmith, a Swedish guy, and that's not their surname. They just started using it, but they make axes as well. I think. Oh, dollars. Okay. I love the googly eyes on the power hammer. Tickles me every time. Yeah, I like them too. I don't know why I stuck them on there. There was a reason. I can't remember. What's the most difficult metal that you've ever had to work with? H13 is a pig. It really struggle working H13. It sort of bends and twists all over the place because it hardens up while you're working with it. Just subscribed, Shane. Hey Travis. Hey Travis. Better late than never. How you doing, Travis? How's those hammers hanging? How many? Oh, you mean the Kopesh? It looked off. It looked off. It didn't look right. I don't know. Oh, I think I saw this Kopesh now. Thinking about it, I didn't watch the video though. Given the choice between a Kopesh and a big ass power hammer, I'd take the hammer. I would too. You just need the space for it. Shane, blind. It was a gorgeous Kopesh. Oh, fair enough. Dracer69, no. Putting up a new video tonight, Dan. Nice, cool. What's it about? Tucker, I'll give you a shout out. What's your weakest skill in smithing? I got two. I got two really bad ones. I'm not the best at pattern welding. I really struggle with it, and it's because I have no patience. I start a project like that, and it drives me nuts. I've recently been doing a project with someone, and some of you guys might have seen an image, but it's it's been nerve-wracking. And scroll work. I cannot bend up a scroll to save my life. And again, I think it comes down to the fact that I'm not very patient with those sorts of things. So I try not to do it, which is a bit stupid, I guess. But I really suck at doing scroll work. So you probably never see me make a scroll. I can bend a circle up. I can nail a circle. the second I've got to get that circle to start in on itself, and then use that golden ratio. Ugh. Rubbish at it. I can't do it for money. Literally couldn't do it for money. If I got a job and they said if you'd like £100,000 to do 2 meters of scrolled railings, I'd be like, no, I ain't doing it. How is the Damascus hammer? More to come on that, Jacob. Sorry, dude. I like the Damascus Hoffman Forge does better than Alice. At least it's by hand, and the vids are great. Oh, Hoffman, is this Hoffman Forge? I need to check out your videos. Apparently, dude. Give me a shout out if that's you. If you're a Damascus maker, right. Who else have we got here? Where was I? That was that one. S&S Smithing, forging a bracket out of 3/8 round bar and adding details with punch and fillers. Cool. Sounds like a cool video, dude. That's S&S Smithings. Go and check out that video. Tucker's video. He's making a bracket. Jacob, it looked great on Instagram. The hammer. Yeah, more to come. I promise. There is more to come. I'm trying pattern weld. Okay, your Dragon Lord rods. Try pattern welded scrolls. You show off. Peter, damn. What was the stuff that the power hammer sent across the other workshop? That was awesome. The Christmas video. That was Christmas pudding. If you saw it, and we found some of that yesterday. It was stuck up against a piece of plate at the other end of the workshop. Dan had dragged it all out, and it was like, ugh. Oh God, where are we? Could it be a fact that you use coal rather than real hot gas forge that gives you trouble with the pattern welding steel? I didn't say I couldn't pattern weld. I said I don't have the patience to do it. The problem is, when using coke, yes, it might be easier to use gas in that situation because it's cleaner. You can, I know loads of people that pattern weld in coke forges. I haven't got the patience, and the project that we're working on recently, the hammer. I find it really stressful, and I was having to take my time. So it's like doing a job, starting the process, putting it in the fire, cleaning the fire before it goes in, and prepping the work, and getting in, getting up to temperature, getting a nice high pile, getting the heat in there, and then taking it out of the fire and making sure that you're constructive with your blows, and then working it at a temperature where it's not going to come apart on you. Yeah, like Sam says, get it hot and smash it together. I think the smashing it together bit isn't advised always, but it's a process that takes practice. It really genuinely takes practice, and to be good at it, you've got to spend hours doing it. I've done about 3-4 different pieces in my entire life, and the outcomes have been okay. I'm not going to complain. I might do some more in the future. I know how to do it, and I know the principles, but you know, yeah, probably the coke is holding me back. Dragon Con, but you know, I got a gas forge. I could have done it in there. Last time we did it in there. So, where was I? Coke is hotter than gas. Coke is hotter than gas. That's quite true. Ginge, have you seen the young Dutch guy who has been beginning a professional smith because people weren't prepared to pay? Oh, Joey. I went to college with Joey. Joey van der Stag or Steer or whatever his name is. I probably shouldn't talk about Joey now. I'm going to leave it at that. Bartlett autocorrect. Yeah, Joey. Sam, yeah, Joey van der Steer. I need to make a door stop. Any ideas? Yeah, if you go down the scrapyard and get a brake drum, that makes an awesome door stop. Yeah, I could do a video for you, Travis, if you'd like, for a door stop. I know a few traditional tricks for making door stops. Dan, definitely check out Jason on Hoj Forge. Sweet work done by hand. Cool. He sounds like a cool guy. Hoj Forge, an awesome channel. Pudding, that was it. Brilliant. Christmas pudding, to be exact, but definitely Peter. Hoj Forge. Why has he never come up my feed before? It's probably because I don't look for Damascus steel stuff. No. Oh, me make the bloody pattern welded scroll. Yeah, that'd be hideous. And there might be tears. Okay, cool. I'm going to scroll down a bit. What did Tim say? Tim. Door stops are pretty easy. Far more scope than donkey mechanics. There's nothing wrong with donkey mechanics. Just, you know, narrow market, that's all. They've always got 4 legs. Joey is great. Steve, Olin. Hi Daniel. I popped in a while ago, and when you read my name, I realised my channel was all of a sudden showing my old channel name. Oh! Fair enough. Okay, cool. What we got? Any questions? First time I've been around the computer while you've been live. Lol. Hoj, how's it going, dude? I hear you make Damascus. We need to talk. Maybe. Tears could be entering. Yes, it will make me cry, I think. Okay. Jacob. I've taken blacksmithing classes with Joey, but that was some time ago. I really didn't get why he stopped in France. I'm not sure. I'm not sure what he's... I don't want to talk about it now. Any questions, guys? What we got? There's a lot of you here. I could start a Joey rant. I'm not going to. Jacob, he couldn't make traditional smithing techniques pay, which is obvious. Why is that obvious, Sam? Sorry, Sam. Why can't traditional blacksmithing pay? that's a fallacy. There's Chris Top up in Yorkshire somewhere from Top and Co, probably one of the wealthiest forges in the country. They only do traditional ironwork pretty much, and they make raw iron. So that's utter shite. Sorry, Sam, I completely disagree with you there. And I know of places in London as well where they make just traditional ironwork. They do other stuff alongside it, but they do traditional ironwork. They do stuff for like Crystal Palace, and they look after the Queen's Gaff and all that stuff. And they make, you know, they make a lot of money there as well. So there is definitely places for traditional smiths. Whether or not everyone fits in that group, I don't know. The Devil's Forge in Italy as well. They make traditional work and they make mega bucks. Yes, but only if you have the name. Chris Top has been working in that same workshop for years, Sam, and he probably didn't have a name to start with. You've got to work at it, and you've got to work hard, and you've got to realise that you've got to dig around in the mud and the crap with the rest of us bottom feeders like me in order to get anywhere. And it takes hard work. This is the failure thing. This is not giving up. It's genuinely part of the not giving up. You've got to realise that getting up in the morning and working hard is part of being a blacksmith. Not saying that Joey's lazy. That's not what I'm saying. But what I'm saying is there are definitely blacksmiths out there. How hot do you work pattern welded steel? Me, as hot as I can get it without it sparking, big dog. Did you get my email, by the way, Tim, big dog? Joey said he didn't want to fabricate and grind all the time. He just wanted to do forging. Joey made a video or two about it. Just watch it. I've seen the video. Oh, no. Of Joey. If he had a name, he could make it with a wooden spoon and make it pay. What? Sorry, there are forges up and down this country that just do traditional work. There's forges in Germany, there's forges in France. They take apprentices, they take journeymen. They work constantly and tirelessly to keep this craft in a certain condition, and he could be part of that if he wants to. So I don't see why you can't work traditional metalwork. There is a possibility to, and by traditional we're talking 400-year-old metalwork, and pretty much no older than that. Yeah, but in order to get it to pay, you've got to get the jobs, you've got to build up the respect, and also you've got to work in the right environments. And I think that if you're prepared to spend the time and the hours working and getting on and doing all that stuff, you'll get there. But it takes 25 years, not 3 years out of college, like Joey has. So I don't see, he's got no more time not in college than he has in college on me. So I can't see why he can't, you know, he can't get the jobs through the door. I'm not being horrible to Joey, but it's the truth. And it's, at the end of the day, I get 3 or 4 large railing jobs a year. It's not like I'm getting, like Chris Top, he's inundated with work. Brian Russell, inundated with work. You know, Joe Coombs Jackman, I can't remember the name of the forge he works at in Greenwich, in London. A forge in Greenwich, in London. Can you imagine how much it costs to run that place? They are inundated with work constantly. But they're not the guys that started it. They're the new guys who've come in and they're working through their apprenticeships. They're working up the ladder. They're spending time. If you said to Joe, does he know everything? Joe would say no. He doesn't know everything. He's got a lot to learn. So Nigel Barnett, yeah, Nigel Barnett, pretty busy. Nigel Barnett is more Joe Coombs Jackman, the guy I'm talking about. He worked with Nigel Barnett. Blacksmith Joe. No, is that how he spells his name then? Yeah, but he worked with. Yeah, so, but, okay, I think you're missing the point here, Sam. The point I'm trying to make is that you have to spend the time getting to where you want to be. We do not all have overnight success like Alex Steele. We are not going to wake up one day and someone is going to give it to us. Chris Top has been a blacksmith for you know, 30, 40 years perhaps. doing the same thing, trying to get where he wants to be. There are loads of blacksmiths who are at my level, at the level above me, the level below me, and we're all trying to get to the same place. You have to spend time, and there's if you're not willing to work at it and get there, you're not going to get there, and then you'll get the respect, and then you'll get the the exclusivity, you'll get but you have to put the hours in. You seriously do. Pete Oberon as well, he's a good one. But yeah, yeah, I think if you're going to put the hours in, you'll get there. You seriously will. And it doesn't matter how you cut that. Yeah, 10,000 hour rule. It takes 10,000 hours to get good at something, and that's like, it takes a time, So anyway, I was going to get my calculator out and try and work out how much that was. And what's wrong with using modern techniques? My point is that 400-year-old blacksmithing, Rococo Baroque style metalwork, that was contemporary. Back in its day, that was considered like the spice. It was considered like the best stuff. They were using the best materials. They had the best workshops. What is wrong with using a grinder now? it means no different. It's different contemporary styles, and I don't want to drag into this conversation too much, but what we make here today and now are representations of our experiences, our influences, the tools we use, where we're located in the world, and I think it's really important that you understand that blacksmithing has got to change, and it's got to there's got to be differences as you grow through your career, and you've got to put the hours in at whose expense? Your expense. How did you learn to become a farrier? You even said this in a video. You had found somewhere where there were farriers, and you hoped to God that people were going to employ you, and you just got on with it. I think that's an important thing to remember. You didn't, and you had to learn how to be the farrier first as well. To say if anyone says I only class myself as a professional blacksmith because I do run a business that earns a fair amount of money. It's not enough money to support myself 100%, but I want to do it. I want it to support myself, and I make a good effort of it. And that's the only reason I consider myself professional, because it's my profession. But if you put me against, if you put me in a room and you took 5 of the top blacksmiths in the country and then a random selection of the others, would I put myself in the top 5? Would I? Hell, put myself in the top 5. I've got to work ruddy hard. I've got to get up every day, and I've got to practice, and I've got to make the very best stuff I can every day. And if I look, and I like making the videos, and this is one of the nice things about making the videos, is if I make a hammer, look at my videos when I first made them, and you look at the stuff that I'm making now, even I know that I'm learning. The things I'm making there are different to the things that I'm making here. And I think that's important. We're all yeah, we all have to make strides forward in order to progress. I don't mean to say, I know that a reputation will get you. I personally have an art background. I have an art background, and I like a lot of blacksmiths. So Roberto Giordani, I can't think of any names now. I can only think of Roberto Giordani. I was going to say Richard Serra, but they are artists. Albert Paley, for example. Albert Paley was paying some guy who lived down the road to help him in his garage so he could make jewellery, so he could get jewellery to shows so that he could promote himself. If you don't know who Albert Paley is, he's an artist blacksmith. He's an American artist blacksmith. He owns a company called Paley Studios. He does a lot of artwork. He's got some very big pieces in New York. I don't know if they're there all the time, but they're definitely there. But these people have worked hard in this 20th, from the mid 1960s or whenever he started, or 1970s whenever he started. He's worked hard to the point where he is now to create the work that he's creating, Albert Paley. And I think
think people need to remember that success isn't something that happens overnight. And I'm fortunate enough to be able to make, you know, I'm fortunate enough to be able to make stuff for people, and they pay me money to do it. Yeah, and anyway, I've lost track of what's going on here. It's hard to read both and talk. I can't remember. It's all about finding the right market. Yeah, you can't make something. How to expect the price? See, at the beginning I said this video was related. So Hoj Forge. What's your name again, dude? Is it Joe? Oh, I can't remember now. Anyway. Basically, what you're saying is, I've talked about this in a video before, in 2 videos over, about the price you pay and whether people are going to pay for it. People will pay for your stuff if they want it. Jason, hey Jason. People will pay for your stuff if they want it, right? And people will say, oh, that's too much money. And people will say, you know, all sorts of stuff about the products that you make. If someone wants it, they'll buy it. If someone's willing to pay to restore the gates outside Buckingham Palace for the Queen's gaff, like, then people are willing to pay for modern contemporary railings. You've just got to get to the point where people know who you are, and that takes time. You either have to work with someone else, you have to make something amazingly stunning, you have to whore yourself out on YouTube like I'm doing. But at the end of the day, if you're willing to make the effort to put in the time, you will get somewhere. Hopefully, I hope. And that's the point of not, you know, failure isn't because you couldn't find someone who wouldn't make you railings with an angle grinder, or you couldn't make money because you couldn't weld something together. That you know, that's letting failure beat you. I think if you want to do it, you will do it, and it doesn't matter in which way, shape, or form it is. Teaching traditional craft to people, techniques, will only take you, you know, so far. I don't think the Queen paid for it, but someone paid for it, all right? I probably paid for it. Pushing traditional techniques in classes will only take you so far. Building the gates the traditional techniques are used on. How do you chuck me an email? That's how you order a hammer, Peter, if you want one. But the ones in 10 years are going to be better than the ones now, just so you know. Yeah, if you're not prepared to go and work with the guys who are using the angle grinders and see, watch them and how they get through, and then build yourself a career. I don't know. Anyway, we'll change the subject, I think. And anyway, it's nearly an hour, and I'm going to go anyway. Wow, random rant. Curtis, 20 years. At my business, been 20 years to be a pro at my business. My own 3 years will pay for you. I see myself, not my products, i.e. Paul Biz. I'm rubbish at this. I always say this is to customers. What do you think my horse is worth? How long do you want to wait for someone to buy it? Put it up for 100, you'll sell it tomorrow. 10 grand, you'll sell it one day. Tucker's videos, S&S Smithing's videos up. Yeah, but people who want to buy 10 grand horses aren't buying 10 grand horses from stables in, like, you know, some knackered yard, are they? They're going to someone particular because they want a 10 grand horse. Someone who wants a traditionally made railing is going somewhere to buy a traditionally made railing. Someone who calls me up and said, hello, is this Daniel? And I say, yes. Do you make gates? And I go, yes, but I make bespoke gates. I'm an artist blacksmith. This is what I do. Go and check out my website. And if they say that's what I want, then I go and sit down, I talk to them, I design something that they want, then I tell them the price. And if they don't like it, they don't have it. If they do want it, then they pay for it. And that's how I get my work. That's why I only do 3 railing jobs a year, because people go, oh, they've seen a bit of work that I've done, and I show them pictures of the work I've done, and then they go, yeah, I like that. I pay X money for that. When I tell them I'm not welding it together, I'm going to punch all the holes and rivet it together, that's what they're buying from me. They're buying tradition. Well, not tradition. They're buying a traditional technique used in a contemporary form. So, yeah, and that's exactly right, Sam. That's what I'm saying, and that's why I'm telling people what I do. But the average pony punter can't tell the difference between a £250,000 horse that's going to win the Grand National and a horse that's going to the knacker's yard to get made into glue that costs £100. It's like, what's the difference? I don't. I think the point is, it's what you make, what you sell, and the reputation that you create as you go through the process. You can't be if you breed a horse and it wins the Grand National, but it's the first time it won the Grand National. It was £100 before the Grand National. After it wins the Grand National, it's now worth £250,000. That's the point. You've got to get it to the other end of the Grand National. You've got to get it to the end. You know. 23 started at 18. They're buying your skills and knowledge. Yeah, that's quite right, Wade. Cool. Anyway, right. Any other questions that don't revolve around horses? Failure. No such thing. It's just a life lesson. Quite true, sir. Jedge. Very true. I'm a prison officer and only do this as a hobby. My mates at work always have my items. I do it for the love of doing it. I just love making things. Well, that's a good reason to do it. And if you can afford to do it that way, then that's even better, because that's the best way to create, is to create because you want to create. Come on, Dan, I had a horse question for you. Go on then, Twan. One horse question from you alone for an anvil or swage block, Dan. For an anvil or swage block. Sorry, Tucker, what's that first bit of your question? Chris, hey mate, I guess you're wrapped up a little bit, and I did talk about this. Forge an anvil or swage block. At some point, an anvil will get forged. One piece of steel forged, I promise. Catch you later, guys. Dan, check your text. Yes, sorry, I need to check to make sure I can do some bits. Had no idea blacksmiths like horses so much. I don't like horses. That's Steve. Right, I guess. Have you ever shoed a horse? Insert punchline. The thing with horses is you can't get their foot under a power hammer, so I've never shoed a horse. Do you do non-commissioned work along the art pieces? Where was that gone? Who said that? Carlson. I've got some sculptures that I've made over the. I tell you what, Sam, I will come and shoe a horse with you if you want. Challenge down. I'm just gonna look like an idiot. But yeah, I'd shoe a horse with you if you wanted to, Sam. Not a bummer, Chris, because you can watch this back. I try to make as many pieces as I can, and hopefully a quieter patch is going to head in soon, and I'll be able to make more arty stuff, some nice sculpture and stuff like that, hopefully. And you can all call me a wet blanket. Uncle Buck's Forge. Oh wow, there's so many of you. No, but I've told a donkey to. Oh God, what's going on? I've completely lost this now. You're not allowed. I'm. Okay. I know I'm not allowed. Now that's a shame. I reckon I'd get qualified. It'd take too long, wouldn't it? I wonder if that would make good videos. I'm talking absolute rubbish now. No way do I want to shoe a horse. Jacob, hey Dan, I'm 17 years old, blacksmith from the Netherlands, and I love forging. My Instagram is @Jacob Derscher. I'm rubbish with names, and I would love it if you'd check me out. Maybe I will have a look later, dude. Any other questions before I go? Sam is on the beer, I reckon.
Hello from Indiana. BC 65925, dude. No, shoeing videos are shit. How? What do you mean shoeing videos are shit? I'm sure we can make them fun. We could do competitive shoeing videos. Oh, you can get fake horses' foots, can't you? And you can shoe them. We can do something with that. That would be hilarious. Told an ass to F off. I started a project yesterday, attempted to make a blower using a wooden gears. How did that work? Right, okay. I'm going to call it an evening. Thank you for joining me again, guys. Use some Nikes. I got an image with a horse with some Nike Airs on his foot. Oh, cool. One question: why did Japanese kamikaze pilots wear crash helmets? It's a good question. It's almost as good. My friend, he always gets on. Whenever we get on a plane together, he would always sit down on the plane and then say, "Formula One racing car, 250 miles an hour, full custom-made bucket seat with a 6-point harness," and then and then he would say, Boeing 747 or whatever the hell we were on, all you get 500 miles an hour and you get a lap belt. And used to scare the hell out of everyone. Cool. Okay, thanks for the shout out. No problem. Steve Olin wants people to go to his Instagram, YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, Snapchat, etc. You got Facebook twice. Desperate for you to go to Facebook. Roy, I always, because your channel is Christ Center Iron's work, Roy, I always think your name is Chris. It's not, it's Roy. Roy, how are you, sir? Good night, Dan. I will have to watch this one on the replay. Cool, dude. Nice seeing you. Do you need anything from me, Dan? Yes, I need you to reply to that email, please, if you'd be so kind, Tim. Thank you, everyone, for joining. This has been wonderful. My internet is all jerky. Get a hold of me and we'll chat. Yes, Jason, we will have a chat. That is for sure. That you're on the next stop. See you later, everyone. Look, there's a team here now. Everyone who's got a YouTube channel needs to say goodbye. Good night, everyone. Thank you for joining me. I'm going to try and do this every Sunday. So 10 o'clock UK, which is like 5 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, something like that. I hope you enjoyed this. Remember to go and check Chris's Instagram out. There's a link in the description. Just go and watch Twan's videos. Just go and watch a couple of those. And Tucker's, so it's Warp Legacy and SNS Smithing. Just say hello, just chuck a comment on and all that jazz. Thank you, that was really good. There was like constantly 40 people watching. Thank you so much for joining me. Go and check out Tim at Big Dog Forge as well. Not that he needs me to give him a shout out, but he's a guy. Cool, see you guys later. Bye bye everyone.